Hey guys, hope you're having a good day. So today we're going to get into this McCulloch Super Airstream 3 gas leaf blower. If you guys are following along, I got this in a group of blowers in pretty much all the same super dirty condition where we fix the weed eater first, and this one is up next. So we'll get you set up, and I think we'll check compression first because that weed eater was low on compression and we kind of learned our lesson there. So we'll do that first. If it's good, we'll throw some fuel mix in and see if it'll pop off. Okay, I think I got what I need here. Let's plug boot off. Looks okay. Okay, am I missing something? Is it not screwed in the whole way? Yeah, I think that's good enough. Get some fuel mix in there. Okay. All right, it started, but that exhaust is super loose. So we'll have to look at that, but I think we can keep going. Let's move this inside. Okay, guys, let's see what we can do here. I guess we should take this blower tube off. Be easier for you guys to see. That off of there. Okay. And you can really see the difference here. Jeez. Okay. Interesting, there's no purge bulb on this thing. Tank's probably a mess. I can't really see in there. Got like a paper filter element. And I'm going to need a nut driver, but that's the choke. 5/16. Line broke off. Let's see. Had to deflect that inward so I can get this throttle pin out of there. Zama. I guess it's the M12 61P. Let's see what kind of shape we're in here. It's got two It's got 2 metering diaphragms in it. That can't be right. It's got this like lighter tan one and then this rubber one. And we've got some dirt in the screen there. All right, let's check the metering side. I might have said metering on the other one here, but that's pumping. Here we go. So that's an interesting one. I haven't seen one of those with the hole on the rocker there. That's pretty pliable. You might be able to reuse this one. I think I'm going to try it, at least. Oh, I don't think that was supposed to happen. But I will look this up, see what the kit is. Maybe that's just supposed to fit like right in there, and then you put the diaphragm on and it stays in place. I don't know. Kind of a weird one. Didn't expect to see 2 pumping diaphragms. This looks like aftermarket hardware too. Figure I just take the tank off. It'd be easier to clean it. If I can slosh it around with some old gas, clean it out. So there's 3 screws on this one. This one's pretty similar to the McCulloch I did a while ago that I couldn't find really any identification on. And there might be a label on the underneath of this. Once I get this off, I'll flip it up and see. I have no idea how old this thing would be. Look at that. Get a flashlight that works. Like super discolored. This might be like the, oh, there's some stuff in there still. Let me get a jar. Oh, jeez. That's like straight 2-cycle oil, like all the gas evaporated out. It's green. Okay, I got to look the kit up for this one and clean that tank out, and I'll bring you back when I got everything ready to go. Actually, let's get this line out of here and see if there was a filter in there. Hope I don't break this grommet. Let's try this one. Well, that answers that. I don't know if it's broken inside or if that's just how it was. Kind of get the feeling someone tried to fix this and was unsuccessful. Yep. Here's what I was talking about earlier, the ID tag. You guys can see that. It's like 40048C, and then maybe a serial number 12-015153. All right, now I'll do the cleaning. So we're the next day, and I got everything cleaned out, got the tank cleaned out, got the carb cleaned out. And full disclosure, I actually had to email Zama on this carb because there was more things in here than I'm used to seeing, and I'll get to that in a second. But I wanted to show you guys the tank. It's super discolored still, but it is clean inside, and it almost looks like it's been repaired with like RTV or something in the past. And I vaguely remember when this was running, this was rattling around, and it's actually supposed to have rubber clamps, like a C clamp on both sides, on the crankcase and on the recoil, to hold that in there. So we're going to have to try to figure that out. And I almost forgot about the rattling exhaust. So I've got some line for the tank. I'm going to put the grommet in the tank and then feed the line through there. I've got a filter that I think will work for this. And let's go through what I found out on the carb. So everything in here is correct. There's 3 diaphragms on the pumping side. This one actually goes against the machine surface like that. Like that. This one's called the retainer. Goes right over top of that. If I can get that the right way around. Like that. And then, if you can see, there's the gasket there, and then there's another diaphragm underneath that, and that one's called the surge diaphragm. So everything that was in here was correct, surprisingly. So I'll just put that back together the way that it is. If we need to get a kit, I'll buy one. I think it was G&D 32 for the gasket diaphragm kit and RB 10 for the rebuild kit. I'll put the numbers on the screen if I got them backwards. But this little disc is supposed to be separate than the diaphragm. It goes in that hole. We're going to drop this on there and button this back up. And in talking with them, I could not find any prefixes on this carb. It's actually a C1S. I had to give them pictures of this carb for them to ID it for me. And there's a lot of options for diaphragms on their general assembly on there. So it was a little confusing. That's why I reached out to them. They actually responded pretty quick. I think it was within an hour or so. But it is a Zama M12, C1S-M12. And there's a couple different versions of that, but this one is for this blower. So that should be good to go there. Let's do the tank. Pop that grommet back in. And I'm going to feed this in until I can get it back out of the filler neck and put that filter on. Should be good. And I'm going to pull this back in till it sits on bottom of the tank, probably right around here, because if you're using this thing, you're going to be tilting it forward and all the fuel is going to go to the front of the tank here. So you want the pickup to be right there. And should be good. We'll cut this about there. Probably have to trim it again, but that's okay. Okay, so tank's good to go. Carb's good to go, questionably. We'll find that out later. Okay, let's see what we need to do for that muffler. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. Got to take the ignition wire off. The plug. Come on. E25. That one's got a flathead on the backside. I don't think that's factory. That's what I'm dealing with on the other side. Not sure. Is that some kind of insert? There it goes. Okay. I think that's the only one like that. These rest should just unscrew from the plastic. Okay, got all of them out. You just need to move this to the side. Look at that muffler. Yay. So I guess studs. This whole thing's loose. This looks like an exhaust port to line up with the back side of this. And I'd say we're missing a stud and 2 nuts. So I'm going to have to go on a field trip to the hardware store, I think, before putting this thing back together. So I think I'm going to get this stud out of there and take that with me. It almost looks like a 1/4-20. Maybe it's metric, I don't know. Let's take these parts off to see what we got. A little clear. Yeah, so we need another stud just like this one. Get it out. Yeah. I hope this isn't some kind of specialty part I'm going to have to order. I'm thinking I can probably get a piece of all thread to fix this. And with those holes being the way they are, I probably need to get some fender washers. All right, we're out. Thread's any good on the other one? Maybe this thing just rattled apart. I wonder if that's why they shelved it, because the exhaust came apart and they didn't want to mess with it. All right, I'm going to take this thing with me, see what I can find. Okay, back from my little field trip, and we got a M5 stud. It's actually M5, surprisingly, not English. So I need to cut about that much off of it and thread that in, and I got some flange nuts that should cover those holes fine enough. So I'm going to get this thing cut down, and we'll start putting it back together. Okay, here we go. One thing I didn't mention too is the part that goes into the cylinder is actually trilobular, so it kind of grabs into that material a little bit better. This is just a straight thread, so we're going to be relying on the tightness of the screw at the end. But we should be okay. If not, parts are still available online, so I should be able to order it if I need to. I'm trying to avoid that. Okay. Both of those are in. And I don't want to say it, but I think we're missing some gaskets here. But we're going to put it back together as is. Okay. All right, I think that'll be good enough. At least I hope so. All right. Okay, you get these screws in, and we'll get that carbon tank put in. Okay, on to putting the tank in, and we got to deal with that missing cushion. So I've got this piece of foam I've had sitting around for a while that I should be able to kind of throw in there, and it should squeeze in and hold that tank a little bit more secure. So I'm going to give that one a shot. This is adhesive back, but this is so greasy it's probably not going to stick permanently. But it'll at least hold it in place until I can get it together. Come on. Stick that one on this side. We might be too thick. Let's take this one off. That's better. All right. Yeah, it's a lot more secure than it was. Okay, we'll save that one piece for another day. Yeah, so this one doesn't have a purge bulb. It's only got the idle mixture and then the high and low. So I guess we're going to have to be pulling on this thing for a while for it to get fuel sucked up. But there we go. Oh, that's cool. It's got like a little dial for your trigger lock. All right. Let's trim that. Not trimmed enough. All right. All right. Let's say we get the blower tube back on, get some fuel in here, get it outside. All right, moment of truth. I'm gonna have to pull and see if we can't see any fuel coming up through here. We got fresh 40-to-1 in here. And as far as settings go, they're exactly how I got the machine, so I didn't bother messing with those. We're gonna see if they were close enough to get this thing going. So here we go. I don't see it pulling fuel. Oh, it's starting. We're just gonna be a while. We shoot some mix in the intake, see if we can't get it to start sucking up some fuel. The line is completely empty, so. I don't think it's sucking up fuel. So we might need to do that carb kit. Let me pull this line off and see where we're at. Oh no, fuel's coming up. We got fuel. All right, we're reconnected. Okay, let's see where those settings are at. So this one's the low, this one's the high. 2, 3. 1 1/4 turns. Let's see where the low's at. 2, 3. 1 1/2. All right. Let's try locking the trigger on high. See if that helps. All right, one more shot. Didn't think we had it there for a second. Just needed some fuel to keep running so I can adjust that low to keep it going, and I can go from there. So yeah, we got a runner. And with the air filter back on, All right, well, here we are all cleaned up and ready to go. Kind of surprised it cleaned up that well with it being as dirty as it was, but hey, I'll take it. And I thought for sure we were going to have to take that carb back off, but by the end we were able to force feed it enough to keep it running, and for me to get that screwdriver on it to adjust the low enough for it to continue to run by itself. And from there we were pretty much golden. So that's 2 out of 3 on these blowers. We got that Craftsman 32 left, so we'll see how that one goes. But hopefully what we covered in this one helps somebody out. Thanks for joining me on this one, and I'll catch you on the next one.